Hey everyone, welcome to season 3 of STEM Time with Navya and Aishwarya. We are your hosts, Navya.
And Aishwarya.
We have a very special guest today for this episode in this season. Remember, the season will bring in many guest speakers within the STEM field, such as professors, students, and many other people, in order to discuss their background, their experiences, and how they proceed to use their knowledge for the benefit of others in the field. Today's episode is really special, so let's get started with our discussion.
Thank you so much for being with us today. So could you tell us your name, a little about yourself, and who you are?
Hello, my name is Aimlys Esso. You can call me Amy. It's easier to say, to pronounce. I am a West African 24-year-old girl. I'm African American, from Ivory Coast. I am a recent computer science and artificial intelligence graduate from the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. How did you first become interested in computer science, and what exactly inspired you to pursue it?
Well, in all honesty, my parents gave me two choices. They were like, you either go for medical studies or you do computers. And I was like, I don't really want to go to school for like 15 years of my life.
Yeah.
So I started with computers, but in high school, I really liked them, but it wasn't really my greatest suit. I was more into economics and law, stuff like that.
Mhm.
I wasn't really too technical. But then, surprisingly, when I started computer science, I started computer programming at Southeast Community College in Milford, Nebraska. And when I started, it kind of came naturally, which was a big surprise.
Wow.
And I really started liking it. I started getting good at it. So I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't go for medical studies. So yeah, that's pretty much how.
Wow, that's a very nice story. I think I had something kind of similar to that, not where I was pushed into it, but the first way I was even introduced to computer science was because of my parents. They were like, this is something really
Mhm.
interesting and cool, you should really look into it. So I think that's how I actually got into computer science. So that's very interesting. Similar stories.
Thank God for our parents, right?
Yep. So do
Right,
you
yes.
have any memories while pursuing computer science?
Excuse me?
Do you have any memories that you really remember or very important to you when you were in your computer science journey?
Yes. I remember something when I was in Milford, Nebraska, Southeast Community College. We started with Java and stuff like that until then, like the third semester, we started doing COBOL and CICS. And the teacher, Beth Stutzman, I remember very vividly. She was so much of a hysterical woman. She was the type of woman that would dress in like a lollipop, but she knew everything about mainframes. Like this um Criminal Minds, the I don't know if you watch Criminal Minds in the TV show. They have this computer lady, uh I forgot her name, but she literally does not look like she would be interested in the things she does. And she really like inspired me. And when we started doing CICS and COBOL with mainframes, I was wondering, first of all, like, why are we learning this? Like,
Mhm.
why am I going to, like, this is old stuff? But surprisingly, a few months later, there was this company in Lincoln that was looking for people that knew how to code COBOL and CICS, because all the coders that they had were retiring due to how old the thing is, I would say. And I got the job because like there was nobody that knew how to do that. So that was crazy and that was fun. So thanks to Beth Toothman, I have I struggle saying her name every time.
That's awesome. Yeah, the impact that teachers can have on students are really amazing. There are many subjects that I wasn't very interested in the very beginning.
Mhm.
Having a teacher that was really enthusiastic about teaching it and really cared for the students and cared about each individual's success in the class can
Mhm.
really impact you and really make you love a field that you wouldn't originally have thought you would have liked.
For
So
Yeah, for sure. I also
exactly.
think that you mentioned how a lot of programmers don't know COBOL, and like the reason they were hiring for them is because the retired people, people were retiring. And
Mhm.
even though technology is becoming so advanced, it's very important to remember that the past of computer science, of technology, is something that's still
Mhm.
used today. And that's something that's very overlooked as well. So I think that's very important to have. And I'm really glad you shared that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the other thing, in every computer science class, they pretty much use two slides to tell us about a little bit of history, but I feel like they should probably take more time for people to like take interest in it,
Yeah, for sure.
you know? Like usually the teachers just use like a slide, oh, like 1965 this, 1975 that. Oh, let's just go into the thing. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I feel like more people should be aware of the historical figures, the concepts that were developed over time, because without
Of,
those concepts, we wouldn't have the world that we have today. So that's
of
exactly. So that's really important. So now moving on to our next question. What do you wish you knew about computer science before starting out? Like, what advice would you give to your younger self?
In the beginning, I would say I wish I knew um, that it wasn't as easy as I expected it was. And if I shouldn't have, I don't know, wasted time partying too much the first year, that's one thing. Um, because if I had used this time, like I used it like the second, third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth year of my college experience, I don't know. I feel like I would have like learned more stuff. Because yes,
Yeah,
I have a
definitely.
bachelor in artificial intelligence and computer science, but there are some things that I still don't know, and I feel like I wasted a year. And we could say like, oh, like we're college students, let's have fun. Sure, have fun, but you know, I had some failures. Like I had some D's, and if I had concentrated, I wouldn't have had that D. So that's just that's just it. That's just it,
Yep.
pretty
I think
much.
yeah, it's really important because computer science can get very complex very easily. And it's sometimes when I'm doing my projects or I'm just practicing my skills, it can get very
Hmm.
frustrating when I don't get things right. And just persistently, constantly just trying and putting effort in it is so
Yeah,
important and very hard to do. But yeah, I completely
yeah.
agree with
And the other thing is, like you said, like consistently trying. Like it gets frustrating to the point where you want to give up. So as an
that. Yep.
advice, like don't give up. Just take a break and come back to it. Because that's the thing with learning codes, for example. You're trying or coding an app or coding a website. You're trying to fix some bugs. You try until you don't want to do it anymore. And then when you leave it, you don't even want to think about it. But that's the
Yep.
thing though. Come back, because every time I take a break and I come back, for some reason, the solution that I didn't have when I was trying comes back to me immediately as soon as I come back to it.
Yeah, fresh mind is
Exactly.
always
Yes, it's always good to take a break because I read this in an article before. When you take a break from something that you're doing, this applies to anything where even if you're on a math test and you don't know how to do a problem, skip it and come back to it. Because when you take a break from something that you're frustrated from, your mind is in the back end. You're not even thinking about it, is figuring out a solution to the problem. And so keeping your mind clear from it, because when you're frustrated, your mind fogs up a bit. You can't think as clearly as you would with a fresh mind. And because computer science is kind of based on those bugs that you have in your problem, in your project, because you're constantly learning from those bugs. But at the end of the day, once you get the solution, it's the beautiful thing about computer science is it's super rewarding. You get to see your project as a whole and see how wonderful it is.
And you feel so fulfilled.
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
so nice when you
Right.
finish something and you get it right. It's the best feeling in the world. Truly.
Yes,
Yeah.
like on the lottery. It's amazing how fulfilling the feeling is.
Yep. So moving on to our next question, what skills do you think are really important to have as a computer scientist or a student pursuing computer science?
Uh, logical thinking,
Mhm.
persistency, um, hmm, critical thinking. Uh, what else? Have a little bit of mathematical knowledge.
Yeah,
Maybe a
definitely.
lot, but a lot of logic and math, like a lot of it. Like
Yeah.
if you hate math, you won't be able to do. No, you can't hate math and do computer science. Um,
Right.
and trust me, I hated math, so I learned to love it.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
what else? You okay? Organization. You need to know how to organize your time. You need to know how to organize your learning process. Like you need to be organized. You need to be focused. Also, you cannot be distracted and think that you will succeed in this field. That is not possible
Yeah,
unless,
that's very true.
yeah, I mean, I can't even say unless. No, that's not possible. I was say unless you're a super genius, but even the super genius, if he wants to create something, he will be focused. So
Yes.
yeah, so
Ex-
critical thinking, logical thinking, math knowledge, a lot of math liking, like it, don't love it, just like it, appreciate it for what it is. Um, and organization. That's what I would say.
Yes.
Also,
Yes.
also social skills. Like people tend to think that being in the tech field is just pure behind your computer, like super nerdy, like you don't talk to anyone out. Well, no,
Right.
no, you have to communicate. You have to be lenient. You have to understand. You have to be able to accept criticism. You
Yeah.
have to be able to take advices. Like, yeah, I struggle with it because, as soon as I left my teenagehood and high school, I was something else, but it was a little difficult to take advice from Beth Stuthman and other teachers, but I learned to, accept it because I wouldn't have, completed that associate degree like in Milford if I had not like decided to just keep my mouth shut and like just say, okay, I'll do what you tell me to do because you know better.
Yeah, I think
Right.
all of those are so important. And you might think, computer science, all you need to know how to do is code. But there's so many more things, like such a wide range of a skill set that you need to have in order to pursue it and consistently do things related to it. And
Mm-hmm.
every one of the skills are important to almost every single field. And
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really think
So
that there's one of the only field like the tech field. I feel like it's one of the only field that includes everything else in it.
definitely.
Like even if it's just a little bit of it, it's still inside that field.
Definitely,
you know.
yes. There's that like you said, a lot of people think that it's just sitting in front of the computer all day in your little cubicle, but it's a lot more than that. It's collaborating with others, learning
Yeah.
from others, communicating your ideas to others, or communicating your project once as during your meetings and things like that. So it's a lot more than that. So technical skills, definitely math is like hand in hand. Math is super important in the computer science field. Logical and critical thinking skills for overcoming those problems that you come through or like face during your programming and debugging, all of that. So I'm really glad you mentioned all of that. And so now for our next question, what do you enjoy most about computer science? What excites you when doing computer science projects?
Being able to discover myself and my capabilities, because every time I'm work looking at doing research, work trying to work on something that I never did, you know, or maybe I already did and I'm trying new things, it's like when I am able to do it, like I said about the fulfilling feeling. Whoa, I can do that. Oh my Lord, I'm smart. It gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, for
It gives
Yeah.
sure.
me
I can
a lot
agree.
of confidence.
And computer science is a field you constantly are learning it. You're constantly involved in it, and you're always learning new things. Like, I think every single project I've done, even though I've only started it recently and I've done it for a couple years, it's still something that I learn every day with. A lot of subjects like math, even, you learn new concepts, but you can just practice those skills by doing practice problems. But for computer science, you can constantly keep applying the knowledge you have, keep applying all of the things you learn. So I think that's really important.
Yes, it's always a learning process. It's never like a constant line of just like the amount of knowledge you have. It's constantly growing every time you do a new program, a new project, and it feels like it's a never-ending process of just learning. And I think that's part is just the beauty of computer science, because you keep learning new things.
Yeah.
Yep. So you mentioned that you were, in college and your first few years you struggled a little bit. But how were you able to set yourself apart from others who pursue the same thing?
How I was able to set myself apart from others. Well, I had my parents with me and I had God with me because I'm very Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, my parents are my rock, they're my God on earth. Like I wouldn't be able to do this without them. So, with their advices and a lot of prayers and reading my Bible, I was able to retract from a bunch of parting temptations.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say that's how I was able to part myself from, you know,
Yeah,
others.
that's nice.
They build in like starting, there was a bunch of people that I started with that just dropped out. I'm not saying they dropped out because they didn't have God or my parents, but I'm saying I didn't drop out because I had God and my parents.
That's
Yeah, I think it's
beautiful.
very,
Yeah.
yeah, we should always, believe that our parents do the best things for us and really appreciate what we do for them. That's very important.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
for our next question. As a girl in the STEM field, what do you think about the gender gap in STEM and computer science? And what do you think is important for girls to know?
Honestly, I think it might not be, ideal because there's this stigma about, oh, men are the ones who do tech and computer thing, but it's also great for us who are in that tech in that field, because it gives us more value.
Yeah, for sure.
And for girls who are in this field, I mean, go you girl, like You're amazing. You're smart. Not only you're beautiful, but you're smart. Brains, 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 brains. All about brains. So keep doing what you're doing. Um, keep working in that field. If you love it, great. If you're just working in it for money, well, probably should find something else that you're doing, like that you love. But you know, it's just really amazing to have women doing tech. Because I have worked in places where I was one of the two or three females in the whole office, but though, like, I would wake up so proud of myself. You know what I mean? And I really hope that all other women in this field don't see the gender gap and don't feel uncomfortable, but actually like feel very proud of themselves, you
Yes,
know?
yes, I completely agree with that. It's very empowering, and of course, it is unfortunate that there is the gender gap. But if you are a girl and you want to pursue STEM, then there's no reason why someone should tell you that you're not fit for it or something
Exactly.
like that. If you are passionate about it and you want to do it, you do it, and you do not
You
go away
do.
from it. Exactly.
Yeah. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's very important, just because of the stigma or just because of the gender barriers, it shouldn't be the thing stopping you from pursuing what you're really passionate about. And when you have a passion for
Mm-hmm.
something, no matter what it is, when you follow it, you'll always do well because hard work will automatically come when you're passionate about something because you want to work towards your goal and you want to work towards things you like to do. So just being passionate
Mm-hmm.
about it and not worrying about problems that will eventually be solved is very important mindset to have when going into the computer science field. So yeah, very important.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I totally agree with you.
Yep. So our last question for today is, do you have any advice in general for people who aspire to study computer science?
Yeah, it's not an easy field. But if you're passionate about it and you want to do it, you can do it. Like, don't let anybody scare you. Yes, it's not easy, but it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible. So if you want it, go get it.
Yep.
Exactly. Beautiful message. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed talking with you today. Um, thank
Yeah.
you so much. And it was a really great time we had, and hopefully a lot of people will learn a lot from listening to this episode on advice and memories and advice that they need to keep in mind when they're doing projects, when they're frustrated with projects, when they're feeling a little low in their work and things like that. So thank you so much for addressing all of those topics. We really
Yeah,
enjoyed having you.
really.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was really nice talking to you.
Thank you so much. I'll keep following you guys on
Yes,
Twitter.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So, on that
All
note,
right.
don't forget to follow, subscribe, and like our page as well as all our posts, and make sure to stay tuned for future episodes and interviews. So, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and that's a wrap. So, bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.